Hello fellow viewers, BracketNeutron here. Since I've become more of an artist over the past 2 years as opposed to a video producer, I haven't been doing nearly as many videos as I feel I should. So I thought, why not have a go at making speed paint videos? They could serve as somewhat of a middle ground and can help promote myself as an artist over time. That said, I feel like I should go over what my art process currently is before doing so. It's not that conventional, but it's not an uncommon one. Please take note that this process may change over time. And also do not treat this as some sort of how-to video. If this helps you, that's great! However, I'm no expert, so don't treat me as such. With that done, let's begin. So my process starts out with using, traditional paper, because that's how it goes. Hey, I'm a traditional artist in the technical sense. Currently I'm using this Blick drawing pad of sorts, though I've used tons of different others of varying quality, and a lot of the other ones I have are like this, so yeah, this is the better one I have at the moment. Now, generally, I only use about, 3 tools for this kind of stuff, and, they vary, but, it's usually, for the time being, I'm using, a General's little pencil. I usually go with HB or B or something around that level. And, Graphic 1 pens, because, really, I mean, why not? This eraser, by the way, I'm not a big fan of it. It sucks. It just kind of smears crap all over the paper, but it's what I'm using at the moment, and I have a couple of them, so hopefully I can get better erasers at some point. My monitor is very close to where my art space is, so basically I have relatively easy access to look at a reference if need be. And not that I'd use them for my own characters usually, because I don't need to do that. However, I've been looking to go back to how I had it before, because before this I had it where it was there was a table, it was around the couch or something. It's like a futon now. And there was a table ahead of that, and then I'd project basically an image to the TV, this one. And I feel like that was a little bit better. But I don't, I had more space to put my hands and all that. With this kind of stuff, it's a little bit annoying, especially with the wires and all that crap. It gets in the way. So I want to change that at some point very soon. But for the time being, this does just fine. For this demonstration, I'm going to be drawing my character Jay. And the picture I had in the reference was of my character Newman, but forget about that. Now, forgive the noise, there's something going up with my camera. I don't know exactly what's going on with it, but apparently it's causing a lot of, if you hear a rattling sound, this is why. Something up with the camera. So, yeah, usually, again, it's a little bit hard to do when you're looking at it through, a, camera screen. This thing's tiny, by the way. This screen is just horribly tiny. So what I end up doing is basically just put a sketch out, and like so. After that, I go over it in pen. I wasn't very confident in recording it, so I've already done that. And I just gotta erase the all the nonsense that's on here. You could tell this eraser doesn't do it very good, but whatever. This is kind of standard with crap erasers like these, I guess. These aren't needed or anything. Now when I'm done with a page, I then put it into the scanner above and put the paper in there. Now of course this paper is very blank, so I have to put some more stuff on this before I put it in the scanner. With the sketches now done, I gotta put it in the scanner. Now that I've got my scanner program open, I might as well click on preview. Now, I always have it set to grayscale, because if I put it in color, it really messes it up. It takes a bit, but yeah, we'll get there. Looking good, looking good. Then I gotta press the scan button. Forget about all this nonsense. Whatever. Press OK. And it's gonna take a little bit as well, but it won't take long. Okay, admit I should have waited a little bit, till the thing was done scanning, but whatever. Here it is. And this is going to lead me to the next step, the digital process.
With the page scanned, I now have to import the file into an art program. I generally use Krita for this, a free open source program which I recommend installing. Despite having a decent enough program, I don't have a tablet, so I have to use a mouse. Anyway, after the image has been imported, I crop the image so it's only the sketch I want to work on. We'll be using the sketch of Jay I've shown off earlier. After that, I make a new layer so it can trace over the original sketch's line work so it looks cleaner. I mostly use the curve tool for this part. So yes, technically, I'm a tracer. Feel free to get on me for that in the comments. I decreased the opacity of the sketch layer so it's easier to see and differentiate the two. I do have a tendency to draw on the wrong layers sometimes also, so the transparency of the layers being different helps out. This way of doing the line art is a relatively recent change. Before this, I would draw on the original sketch, which was honestly not the smartest idea. It looked worse and it took much more time to do drawings this way. Once I finish redoing the line art, some fixes are done to it. Most of these fixes are just making the line ends thinner or fixing spots where the line art doesn't connect right. I must admit though that I've forgotten to finish those sometimes, or I don't notice until later, which you might see here. Afterwards, it's time for the work to be colored in. First I'll need to import a color reference image, and afterwards make another layer which goes behind the line art. This is where the color goes to. Because my original scans are in grayscale, I would need to convert the color space to RGB so the color shows up as it should. The paint bucket tool is used to fill the spaces in, but I always go over the areas just to make sure I gotten everything. Once that's complete, I usually make another layer which will be used for shading. Conveniently, I forgot about this when working on this piece. Until I got to the eyes, that is. Like the change in doing line art, this is another recent improvement I've made. That way I don't have to worry as much about messing up the unshaded colors if I need to fix something. That's just about the end of it, but I can't forget about the background. This is not something I'll do with every piece, but it's something I usually do. Unlike a lot of the previous steps, this one's much more improvised and open for experimentation, just as long as I don't plan on having a proper backdrop. I went simple for this one, but I do often mess around with blending effects and special brushes. Before I start putting a background in, I hide all the previous layers and make sure that this new layer is just ahead of the old sketch layer, which by this point is also hidden. In one of the few pieces I've done which already had a background in the sketch, the background was done first. Sometimes I do the background before shading as well, which is probably the way I should do it. Finally, I'll put a little watermark with my initials and the date of the art's completion. This one doesn't have it, but most of my regular pieces do contain them. With that done, the art is then exported as a PNG. You gotta have it be the best quality possible after all. And that's about it. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment them below. It bears repeating that it's hard to manage being both an artist and a video producer at the same time, especially now where my interest in doing the latter seems to dwindle every month. And again, while I'd imagine this process might provide help to some, I guarantee that it won't work for everybody, and I don't want you to treat my words too highly. We've all got things to learn and evolve as artists. Otherwise, thank you very much for expressing interest in this topic. If you're interested in my artwork, be sure to check out my profile on either Twitter, DeviantArt, or Newgrounds. I hope to see you all again soon. This is BracketNeutron signing out.